In written languages, an ordinal indicator is a character, or group of characters, following a numeral denoting that it is an ordinal number, rather than a cardinal number. In English orthography, this corresponds to the suffixes saint, nd, road, th in written ordinals. Also commonly encountered are the superscript ordinal indicators, and, originally from Romance, but via the cultural influence of Italian by the 18th century widely used in the wider cultural sphere of Western Europe, as in first primo and first prima, first chief, prime quality. The practice of underlined superscripted abbreviations was common in 19th century writing, and was also found in handwritten English until at least the late 19th century, and usage in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian and Galician. The ordinal indicators are appended to the numeral depending on whether the grammatical gender is masculine or feminine respectively. These suffixes are often underlined as well, though in regard to digital typography, this will depend on the font used. Cambria and Calibri, for example, have underlined ordinal indicators. The masculine ordinal indicator U plus OOBA is often confused with the degree sign U plus OOBO, which looks very similar in many fonts and is available on Italian, Portuguese and Spanish keyboard layouts. The degree sign is a uniform circle and is never underlined, while the letter O may be oval or elliptical and have a varying line thickness. The letter O may also be underlined. Examples of the usage of ordinal indicators in Italian are: first primo, second secondo, third terzo. Galician also forms its ordinal numbers this way. In Spanish, using the two final letters of the word as it is spelled is not allowed, except in the cases of prima before singular masculine nouns, which is not abbreviated as one, but as one. Er of terza before singular masculine nouns, which is not abbreviated as three, but as 3. Er, and of compound ordinal numbers ending in prima or terza. For instance, 21st is vigesimo prima before a masculine noun, and its abbreviation is 21. Er. Since none of these words are shortened before feminine nouns, their correct forms for those cases are primera and tercera. These can be represented as 1 and 3. As with other abbreviations in Spanish, the ordinal numbers have a period, which is placed before the indicator. Portuguese follows the same method. Encoding. The Romance feminine and masculine ordinal indicators were adopted into the 8-bit ISO 8859-1 encoding in 1985, at positions 170 and 186, respectively. ISO 8859-1 was incorporated as the first 256 code points of ISO IEC 10646 and Unicode in 1991. The Unicode characters are thus: U plus OOA feminine ordinal indicator, U plus OOBA masculine ordinal indicator. The named HTML entities and AMP ORDF and an AMP ORDM were introduced in HTML 3.2. The majority of character sets intended to support Galician, Portuguese and/or Spanish have those two characters encoded. In detail. Keyboard. Most Windows and Apple keyboard layouts for Spanish, Portuguese and Italian have these characters directly accessible through a dedicated key, a set of keystrokes. In Windows keyboards, optionally, can be obtained by pressing Alt-0-1-8-6 and can be obtained by pressing Alt-0-1-7-0. In Apple keyboards, optionally, can be obtained by pressing Alt-0 0 and can be obtained by pressing Alt-9 in an English language layout. In Linux, can be obtained by pressing Alt-Gr Shift-M and can be obtained by pressing Alt-Gr Shift-F. Similar conventions. Some languages use superior letters as a typographic convention for abbreviations. Oftentimes, the ordinal indicators, and are used in this sense, and not to indicate ordinal numbers. Some might say that this is a misuse of ordinal indicators. Spanish uses superscript letters and ordinal indicators in some abbreviations, such as VB for visto bueno, N for numero, D for doña, M for Maria. Of Spanish name frequently used in compounds like José M and ADM, or for administradora, administrator. The superscript characters and indicators are always preceded by a period. Traditionally they have been underlined, but this is optional and less frequent today. Portuguese forms some abbreviations in the same manner. For example, Exmo for excelentíssimo, Eldar for limitada, and Senior for senhora. English has borrowed the no abbreviation from the Romance language word numero. This is sometimes written as no with the superscript O optionally underlined, or sometimes with the ordinal indicator. In this case, the ordinal indicator would simply represent the letter O in numero. See numero sign. Origins. The practice of indicating ordinals with superscript suffixes may originate with the practice of writing a superscript O to indicate a Latin ablative in pre-modern scribal practice. This ablative dissonance happened to be frequently combined with ordinal numerals indicating dates on the third day, or in Anno Domini years, as in Anno Millensimo ab Incarnatione Domini Nostri Iesu Christi, in the 1000th year after the incarnation of our Lord Jesus Christ. The usage of terminals in the vernacular languages of Europe derives from Latin usage, as practiced by scribes in monasteries and chancelleries before writing in the vernacular became established. The terminal letters used depend on the gender of the item to be ordered and the case in which the ordinal adjective is stated. For example, primus dies, but primo die, shown as I or io. As monumental inscriptions often refer to days on which events happened, e.g., he died on the 10th of June, the ablative case is generally used, exo with the month stated in the genitive case. Examples: io die Julii, on the first day of July. Exodecimo, exexovicentimo, lo quinquagensimo, cosentensimo, momillensimo. Other suffixes. English and is used with numbers ending in 1. ND is used with numbers ending in 2. RUD is used with numbers ending in 3. As an exception to the above rules, all the teen numbers ending with 11, 12 or 13 use TH. TH is used for all other numbers. In 19th century handwriting, these terminals were often elevated, that is to say written as superscripts. With the gradual introduction of the typewriter in the late 19th century, it became common to write them on the line in typewritten texts, and this usage even became recommended in certain 20th century style guides. Thus, the 16th edition of the Chicago Manual of Style states, the letters in ordinal numbers should not appear as superscripts, as to the Blue Book and Style Guides by the Council of Science Editors, Microsoft, and Yahoo. Two problems of that superscripts are used most often in citations, and are tiny and hard to read. Some word processors format ordinal indicators as superscripts by default. Style Guide author Jack Lynch recommends turning off automatic superscripting of ordinals in Microsoft Word, because no professionally printed books use superscripts. French uses the ordinal indicators re in feminine e. French also uses the indicator d for the variant to d second. In feminine, this indicator becomes de to de second. In plural, all these indicators take as, res, s, ds, des. These indicators use superscript formatting whenever it is available. Other languages Catalan. The rule in Catalan is to follow the number with the last letter in the singular and the last two letters in the plural. Most numbers follow the pattern exemplified by Vint 20, but the first few ordinals are irregular, affecting the abbreviations of the masculine forms. Superscripting is not standard. Dutch. Unlike other Germanic languages, Dutch is similar to English in this respect. The French layout with E used to be popular, but the recent spelling changes now prescribe the suffix e. Optionally Santander may be used, but this is more complex. 1 sant, 2 de, 4 de, 20 sant. Finnish. In Finnish orthography, when the numeral is followed by its head noun, it is sufficient to write a period of full stop after the numeral. Pardayan kilpailusa 2. Sijal. In the competition, I finished in second place. However, if the head noun is omitted, the ordinal indicator takes the form of a morphological suffix, which is attached to the numeral with a colon. In the nominative case, the suffix is nen for 1 and 2, and s for larger numerals. Mina Olin 2, nan, Yarvel Jenny Ollie 3, s. I came second, and my brother came third. This is derived from the endings of the spelled-out ordinal numbers. Ensimainen, Toinen, Kolmas, Neljas, Verdis, Kuds, Sitsimis. The system becomes rather complicated when the ordinal needs to be inflected, as the ordinal suffix is adjusted according to the case ending. 3 s, 3 n n e n, 3 tta, 3 n nessa, 3 n-teen, etc. Even native speakers sometimes find it difficult to exactly identify the ordinal suffix, as its borders with the word stem and the case ending may appear blurred. In such cases it may be preferable to write the ordinal word entirely with letters, and particularly 2 nen is rare even in the nominative case, as it is not significantly shorter than the full word toinen. Irish numerals from 3 up form their ordinals uniformly by adding the suffix u, 3u, 4u, 5u, etc. When the ordinal is written out, the suffix adheres to the spelling restrictions imposed by the broad, slender difference in consonants and is written u after slender consonants. But when written as numbers, only the suffix itself is written. In the case of 4, the final syllable is syncopated before the suffix, and in the case of 9, 20, and 1000, the final vowel is assimilated into the suffix. Most multiples of 10 end in a vowel in their cardinal form and from their ordinal form by adding the suffix to the genitive singular form, which ends in d. This is not reflected in writing. Exceptions are 20 and 40, both of whom form their ordinals by adding the suffix directly to the cardinal. When counting objects, there becomes dha, so there becomes cidre. As in French, the vigesimal system is widely used, particularly in people's ages. Cidre score agas cuigde acute age 95. The numbers chapter 1 and 2 both have 2 separate ordinals, one regularly formed by adding u, and one suppletive form. The regular forms are restricted in the usage to actual numeric contexts when counting. The latter are also used in counting, especially ce acute ad, but are used in broader, more abstract senses of first and second. In the broader senses, ce acute ad and ara are not written as 1u and 2u, though 1u and 2u may in a numeric context be read aloud as ce acute ad and ara. Russian 1 or 2 letters of the spelled-out numeral are appended to it. The rule is to take the minimal number of letters that include at least one consonant phoneme. Examples: 2 feet Romu, 2 feet Raja, 2 feet Roj is consonant. Swedish. The general rule is that a or e is appended to the numeral. The reason is that a and e respectively end the ordinal number words. The ordinals for 1 and the 2nd of May, however, be given an e form when used about a male person, and if so they are written 1 e and 2 e. When indicating dates, suffixes are never used. Examples: 1, a class, 3, you'd given, but the 6th of November. Furthermore, suffixes can be left out if the number obviously is an ordinal number. Example: 3 utg. Using a full stop as an ordinal indicator is considered archaic, but still occurs in military contexts. Example: 5. Comp. Representation as period. In Basque, Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, Czech, Danish, Estonian, Faroese, German, Hungarian, Icelandic, Latvian, Norwegian, Polish, Slovak, Slovene, Turkish, among other languages, a period of full stop is written after the numeral. The same usage, apparently borrowed from German, is now a standard in Polish, where it replaced the superscript of the last phoneme. Representation as prefix. Numbers in Malay and Indonesian are preceded by the ordinal prefix k, for example, K7, 7. The exception is pertama, which means first. Numbers in Filipino are preceded by the ordinal prefix ikarapang, the latter subject to sandi, for example, ika7 apam 7, 7. The exception is una, which means first. In Chinese, an ordinal number is prefixed by di, for example, first, second.